Have you ever gone back home, sat down and thought, I could not be doing all this bullshit for minimum wage? So you start doom scrolling, start watching unfunny TikToks your boy sent you. But then you hear a familiar jingle. Oh, that's that show you used to watch as a kid. But you haven't thought about that show in years, have you? You know this theme song in and out, because you know everything about this episode. It used to rerun constantly. You know the hook, you know the plot, you know everything else in between. And you watch it. No scrolling. No thinking of how terrible work's gonna be tomorrow. You simply watch and are reminded of how you felt as a kid. When things were simpler. And if you're lucky, where things were fun. That, right there, is nostalgia. But what is nostalgia? And my real question to all of you, and the point of the video, can you feel nostalgia from something that you never experienced? Let's talk about it. Hey, it's Albino, and this is Salt to Taste. Something that stuck with me after my master's program was the idea that everyone can learn. You just need to present it in a way that is more digestible for them. So for this video series, I want to take ideas of philosophy, reasoning, and concepts and put it in the scope between video games and media.
And now I've struck a key.
True point of this video series is just to get people to think a little bit more critically about things in general, to look beyond what you seek rather than take it at face value. Thank you for that, Rafiki, and thank you for that, MatPat. But what is nostalgia, though? By the Merriam-Webster definition, it is a sad pleasure experience in recalling what no longer exists, a wistful or sentimental yearning for return or the return of some real romanticized past or some irrecoverable past condition or setting. To shorten it a bit, though, we're just gonna say it's a feeling of sentimental pleasure in a period of time or affection of past moments that are now gone. Some can say this feeling of nostalgia can happen in a plethora of different ways. For example, it could be eating a chocolate chip cookie and suddenly hit with a memory of when you and your mom would make cookies every Saturday morning. Or when you walk upon the beach and you see just how the sun hits the ocean just the right way. And it reminds you of the last summer where you got to hang out with your friends from high school. So at this point, I know what you're thinking.
So, are you stupid? How the heck do you feel nostalgia for something you never experienced before?
And I say to that, sniveling warm, I am not done explaining yet. Now let's get a little more specific and pose a clear question. Can you feel nostalgia from a game you never played? Short answer, yeah. You can click off the video if that's what you want to know. However, the long answer is a little bit more nuanced, and I think you're going to want to hear it. Another term that we're going to want to remember for this video is a term called digital nostalgia, coined by media scholar Katrina Neymar. It's a yearning for the human connections and rituals tied to outdated technology, and instead of simply longing for an old video game, aesthetic, or device, users long for the social dynamics and the embodied experiences that technology previously facilitated. In this case, we can see this as a device itself being a central point that brought us back to those moments. Yeah, that's not what I'm looking for when it comes to this video. I think that's a very interesting idea and topic, but for what I am trying to aim for particularly, I don't think that really matters. But let's focus on the parts that I think matter for this case. That is sentiment in a period of time or affection of past moments. When we're talking about sentiment in a period of time, we're talking about people feeling sentimental of an era or a point in time in their life. And affection of past moments, you feel fond of those moments, you feel fond of that memory. Let's remember that, all right? A big part on why I had this idea for a video in the first place was because I tried an experiment on myself last summer. Last summer, I went back to my parents' place and I wanted to do it in the detox. I wanted to see how it would feel after. Found out, felt pretty good. However, I was very, very bored very quickly. I couldn't work on any meaningful projects I wanted to work on without internet or my computer. So, what did I do? To alleviate my boredom, I decided to take my credit card, take my brother's Switch, borrow, and buy myself a game. The game in question being Final Fantasy XII Zodiac Age. So for context, if anyone asks, this is one of the only Final Fantasy games I've ever played. The others being Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy XIV, but I'm told these games shouldn't be considered. But yeah, I was able to play FF12 for hours on end during the summer, and it was something entirely different from what I've grown accustomed to as of recent, thanks to a plethora of different modern games.
Don't kill me!
I don't know what it was, but there was a magic to this game that I felt the entire way through. The atmosphere, the vibe, mechanics, the gameplay. And I know it isn't seen as one of the best FF games out there. I've read every review about the game. But it tickled a part of my brain that I really can't explain. It's just something there that... Oh, 1 second. Now, that feeling I was alluding to was nostalgia. I felt nostalgia, not because of the game itself, but the feeling it invoked in me. The feeling of playing a 2000H game invoked a sense of nostalgia of an era rather than a memory. That grungy, dirty feeling that oozed out coolness like a faucet of an era was in spades when it came to this game, and I don't know why, but I felt it. But now you see, when we spoke about the sentiment in a period of time, playing this game legitimately reminded me of that early time period of when I used to play games like that. Call of Duty, Halo, Jet Set Radio, Jak and Daxter, Resident Evil. Something about that game gave me that 2000-2010 gaming era, and it brought me back into a time where things felt different. And I think the best part of all this, it doesn't have to be just video games. It can be music from the era, art, food, just anything that brings you back into a different time period of your life. And the fun part is, the beautiful part of all this is that I don't think you need to experience it. Because in some way, even if you haven't touched it, it's touched you. I can rephrase that better, you know what I meant. The game itself was 2000 slop. And I think that was the best thing ever for me. Nostalgia isn't just a memory of you felt, it's everything that brings you back to that moment of your life. Nostalgia is a romanticized version of reminiscing. And for me, that romanticized version of reminiscing was playing a game where a kid yelled out, "I'm Captain Bosch von Rosenberg of Damaska!" And I thought that was pretty cool. Thank you for getting far in the video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to see any more of my content, please check me out here. I post mostly regularly. And if you want to check me out on Twitch, I'll have a schedule one day. But besides that, have a good day, y'all.